you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Hi, Iron Wicca. Can you hear me? Let's turn that down some. Really? What the heck? Okay, Midnight Sun sees me. Demon, I'll fix that. Hold on. Okay, so the AC is now off. I apologize for that. It's really hot outside, and we only have a wall unit, so it's really, really loud. Okay, so you guys can see and hear me. Okay, good. I really need to start doing this beforehand. Excuse me. Okay. Ignore the drawings all over me for right now. We'll talk about that stuff later. Okay, so today's topic is healing practices. Healing is defined by to become healthy or well again. There's this misconception among the younger generation of witches in my area that only healers, or those that define themselves as healers, can heal. That's not true. Anybody can heal. It just takes practice. I'm sorry, Demon. What they were hearing was my wall unit AC. It's really loud and obnoxious sometimes, but it's really hot outside. It's like almost 100 degrees. I was out in it earlier, as a few people already know, and got really sick because of it. Empaths, aura-seers, channelers, and even people that don't know what their select gift or talent is. Oh, I'm sorry, Midnight. But empaths, aura-seers, channelers, even people that don't know their select talent or gift can still heal. It's not just people that call themselves healers. Hi, Emrys. Healing to me is to make somebody physically or spiritually healthier. But also, if you can't do that, it's also just alleviating pain to me. They are not tattoos, Amira. I promise. They are not permanent. I will get to that later. It's part of today's broadcast. I'm sorry that they really suck. I drew them on myself, and obviously it's hard to draw on down here and with the opposite hand. I may be ambidextrous, but I'm definitely more right-handed. My brain decided to try and confuse itself because I was drawing with both hands at the same time. So obviously this arm is going to look a lot better than this one. But they are not permanent, and they are not tattoos. Though I am thinking of getting one of these as a tattoo. Honestly. But healing to me is if you can't make somebody no. Ha ha, Demon, ha ha. My clothes are not coming off. They're only where you can physically see them without me taking clothes off. Which is right here and my arms. I don't actually have any tattoos on here right now. But healing to me is, if you can't physically or emotionally or even spiritually make somebody healthier, it's alleviating the pain that they're in. My mother has fibromyalgia, and even though I've healed her, I've never taken her fibromyalgia away. It's not possible or in my range of possibilities at this point. I don't think it ever will be, because it's something she's lived with since she was in her 20s. She's now in her 40s. So healing to me is still alleviating that pain if it's a chronic illness or a chronic disease. So that's healing to me. But the true definition of healing is to make healthier or well again. Not all healing practices are based around magic or magical items or even magical healing. Again, it's a misconception that a lot of young witches in my area have, that healing and all healing practices have a foothold within the magical era. That's not completely true. There's healing practices that stand outside of magic, such as herbal remedies, as well as aromatherapy and Nona, I'm already on. Herbal remedies, chakra, meditation healing, and also empathic healing. Those don't completely, and acupuncture. I usually put that in with therapeutic stuff. But those don't have a foothold within the magical spectrum of healing. And that's a really big misconception that a lot of young witches around my area have. Okay, so my definition of healing practices is dealing, the transfer of either energy or the transfer of energy between two people, as well as transfer of energy between two people, as well as if you do a spell, it's more of the transfer of your will out to the universe to help somebody or heal somebody. So it's not necessarily just between two people, it's also just out to them, though it may not be directly. The different forms of magical healing practices that I'm going to cover today would be Reiki, empathic healing in its magical form, element healing, which is dealing with water, earth, fire, spirit, and air, as well as all of those combined. Sorry for all the uhs and ums, guys. I'm also reading these from notes that I have. Elemental healing, dealing with all the elements combined. And ritualistic healing, which can be runic as well as non-runic. And aura healing. I know there's a lot more magical healing practices out there, but these are what I'm going to cover today, mainly because these are the ones that I've either seen used or I've used myself. I'm actually going to start with empathic healing, because I do know there's a few, if not more, empaths on here. To be an empath is to be able to channel as well as shield yourself from the feelings of others, as well as shield them from your emotions. Empaths can project their emotions. They can also take in and channel other people's emotions, which can cause people to believe that they have bipolar disorder. For the longest, people thought that about me. If somebody would get irritated around me, I would be irritated, and I would be happy a minute later. It was kind of ridiculous. But for empaths, they're able to heal by channeling those negative emotions while projecting their own. If and it say I'm happy and somebody around me is in a really negative, hateful mood and they just can't get out of it, then I would be able to not only channel their emotions into me after taking down my shield, but also be able to project my good emotions like happiness or peace or calm, which doesn't really happen very often, into them. And as I'm drawing that negative emotion out and pushing my positive emotion in, it's able to change their, not so much their perspective, but change their mood to where they focus more on that positive emotion. And that helps them heal. Because even though having a negative emotion isn't a real disease or a sickness, it can cause them. So I still see that as, I still see taking those negative emotions and turning them into positive emotions healing. So that's a form of empathic healing. Another form of empathic healing, I consider that that specific form, channeling and projecting emotions, as magical, because it is an exchange between energy between two people with the intent on helping that person. That's why I see it as magical. Another magical form of empathic healing is touch. Empaths, at least me and the empaths I know, are extremely touchy-feely. We're extremely intimate, and whenever we're in a bad mood, we have to touch somebody. And a lot of my friends don't have a concept of personal space because of this. So, Nona, I would say some people are empaths, but some people are channelers. There is a difference between the two. And I do also believe some people just aren't empathic or channelers because they're not that in tune with other people's emotions. I believe that empaths are more in tune with other people's emotions because they're also more in tune with their own. It's there's a thin line between it, but I don't believe some people can be empaths because they don't have that, they're not in touch with their own feelings. Therefore, they can't really know what other people are feeling. But anyways, touch. I'm not sure, Freya. I'll keep that in mind for another broadcast, because I now broadcast twice a week, one on Thursdays at 2 p.m. CDT time, and on Fridays where the music starts at 6 and I start live broadcast at 7. Ugh. Okay, if you guys are going to talk to me, please use my name so it pings and I'm not, like, reading the entire room's conversation. Oh, sorry about that. But another form of empathic healing that I view as magical is touch. Empaths that I know, as well as myself, when we get, when somebody around us is in a negative mood, or, thank you, Freya, or if we're in a negative mood, thank you, Emrys, we feel this undeniable urge to touch somebody. Especially if somebody's in a better mood than us, we feel the urge to touch them. I do it all the time. I and a few of them, actually, a lot of my friends, even the ones that aren't empathic because they've been around those that are so long, have no concept of personal space anymore. it gets really ridiculous when somebody new's coming around and we're like, oh, we have to touch this person, and they're like, what the heck is going on? I feel like we've scared a bunch of people doing that kind of stuff. And it's just because we know, because of our empathic nature, that they're in a bad mood, or we're in a bad mood, and they're in a good mood, and we have to touch them. So I do feel that touch exchanges, it's kind of channeling and projecting all at once. It exchanges the emotions and the energetic emotions between people. So that's why I think me and my friends are really touchy-feely when we do that kind of stuff. If somebody's in a bad mood and we feel like we have to go up and hug them, it's got to be at least arm against arm with no sleeve in the way. Something has to be touching skin. Or we don't feel like it's working or it's active. So normally, like if my fiance is really stressed after work, I usually sit behind him and hold on to him with my hands on his arms, because it seems to lift his mood. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, guys, remind me to touch my screen every now and then, or touch my mouse every now and again, or my screen will go black and you guys will lose visual. I always forget. But I'll sit behind him and just hold on to him, because I can feel when I touch somebody who's in a negative mood. It's the transfer of not just the emotion, but also energy. Just like where I said, without touching, empaths can project and channel emotions to make somebody feel better, which to me is still a form of healing, because negative emotions still cause sickness or illness. Sometimes it can also cause disease. So I think touching is a lot more powerful to an empath, because they don't have to focus so much on the exchange of emotions and energy. They just touch somebody, and I think it comes naturally. I've met a lot of empaths in my 20 years that are so touchy-feely that it makes me look like an angel. And that's really saying something. So that's another form of magical empathic healing that I see. I mainly see it as magical because, again, there's that exchange of emotions as well as energy. Okay. Elemental healing. We're going to go through all the elements one by one and then focus on all 5 of them together. I'm a very touchy-feely person. If I think somebody's in a bad mood, or if I think somebody has this negative feeling, or if somebody's so down in the dumps, I just gotta hug them, or I have to touch their arm or something. It's like a compulsion, and sometimes I don't like it because it comes at the worst times, and then there's other times where I'm like, they need a hug. Personally, I don't like being touched either, so I understand that. But if somebody around me is in a bad mood or negative mood, I feel the need to touch them. Not so much for them to touch me, but for me to touch them. I hate being touched. I have a personal space bubble that if it gets popped, I get really irritated. But I don't mind invading somebody else's personal space to touch them. Usually it's no more than a few minutes, but those few minutes or those few seconds, depending on how I feel and how they feel, usually works a lot better than if I just sat there channeling and projecting. Projecting is something that you have to actually work on. It doesn't come as natural to some people as it does to others. My friend Paul actually taught me how to project as an empath. He is my empathic baby. So projecting comes nowhere near naturally to me as an empath. It does to my friend Paul, but it does not to me, and it I got so frustrated the first time I tried to project that I literally, like, smacked my head against a wall. I was sitting down and I was so frustrated, I just went BAM! Because I forgot there was a wall behind me. Empathic healing, you can also, with touch or focusing and channeling, you can also take, okay, Midnight, I'm touching the computer. What was I saying? Hold on, guys, let me finish one question before answering another. And now I forget what I was saying. I forgot what I was saying. Warning to all those who are new to my broadcast, I am a little bit of a scatterbrain. If I don't redirect myself almost immediately back onto subject, I will forget completely what I'm saying. Sapphire, sometimes it does. Psychic vampirism, to me, is an empath that... it's a vampire that's an empath to me. So it's not completely the same thing, because I'm definitely not a psychic vampire. I'm pale as can be, but I'm not a vampire. It's okay, Midnight. I still don't get why you were telling me to touch the computer, but anyways. So Sapphire, it's kind of related, but it's not really related. Again, I view psychic vampirism as somebody who is a vampire or is a psychic vampire who has the empathic ability. Nona, I don't think that's just an empath ability. I think everybody has an instinct if evil or something negative comes their way. Oh yeah, I forgot there was a wall behind me when I heard. Here we go. Thank you, Nona. That's kind of what I was saying. But to your question, Nona, I think everybody has an instinct to be able to tell when, thank you, be able to tell if something negative or harmful or evil comes near them. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you, Midnight. I guess, but I think that's just a natural instinct that humans have, period. It's not specifically empaths that can do that. She's somewhere that's asleep right now, Demon. But, Chairsman, what I was saying is, when I first, tried to project, because it does not come naturally to me, I actually, hated the first 3 weeks that I was learning how to project. I banged my head against a wall because I forgot there was a wall behind me. And, my friend Paul touched me. He came up and, like, touched the back of my head where I smacked it. And I smacked it pretty good, because it really, really hurt. But the instant he touched the back of my head where I smacked it, the pain immediately went away. So another thing that empaths can do that I consider empathic healing ability is to take the pain of another away. Because not only do we feel emotions, but we also feel pain. So I also believe that if through either channeling or through touch, which is another form of channeling, empaths can take the pain of another away. So that's what I was saying, Chairsman, is that's another form. Is it true? Emrys, I'm not completely sure. I have not had any experiences picking up other psychic skills that I know of from other people, but then again, when I'm around people, I tend to try and shield as best as I can to keep both my emotions from leaking out to them, as well as their emotions affecting me. I really don't like being as bipolar as people think I am when my shield's down, so I usually try to shield and keep both my emotions away from non-empathic and empathic people. Especially empathic people that don't know they're empathic. So I wouldn't say that I have, but I've never really paid that much attention to that kind of stuff. This is not what my broadcast is about, guys. Ask me that later, Chairsman. Okay, we're going on to elemental healing. We're going to go through the 5 elements. Yeah, the 5 elements individually, and then we'll go through using them together. We're going to start with water, because, well, it's one of the easiest for me, because I'm a definite water person. Nona, that is part of projecting. If an empath does it right, they don't necessarily have to project when they channel. I can channel without taking my shield down, so I'm not actually projecting out towards people. But there have been times that I have taken my shield down to try and channel somebody to make them feel better or to take pain away where I have accidentally projected. So it's a really thin line between channeling and projecting, but there is a way to channel that person's pain without actually projecting towards them. If an empath is new and is projecting their pain to others unknowingly, I would say learn to shield, because that was one of my biggest things. Apparently, when I first realized I was an empath, or actually a friend of mine told me, but when I first was told I was an empath, I was supposedly projecting without knowing it. And then when I started learning how to intentionally project, I couldn't do it. So I don't know, but I learned how to shield my emotions just in case there's people that can pick up on them, so I don't project the pain that I'm in from my back or from past injuries or negative moods or anything like that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the element of water and how it's used for magical healing. So we all know that people have elements that they associate themselves with or that they associate with just naturally. One of mine would be, I didn't say you weren't empathic, Nona. I said I believe some people are empathic and some aren't. I did not address you directly. Anyways, one of my elements is water. Water cleanses, it purifies, it also helps heal. If you're doing a ritual or a healing circle, one of the things you can do is a pool, like a little kid pool, and have the person that you're healing lay down in it and then channel your magic or your energy through the water. The water will actually amplify the healing magic that you're focusing towards that person and help with healing them. Because water is a healing, has healing associated with it. Another thing is runic water healing. I know it sounds weird, but it's there. And this is where we get into the drawings on my skin. This is true, Emerith. Okay, so this one right here is a water healing rune. If you guys can see it clearly. I know it sucks. I drew it with my right hand, or with my left hand. Yeah, my left hand. Yeah. Sorry about that. This was drawn with my left hand, so it kind of looks like poop, but I'll redraw it and post a picture later on either Witch's Grove or Witch's Chat or within my broadcast. But this is a water healing, or healing water rune. It stands for a specific healing. Each different rune stands for a specific, has a specific associated body point. I found that when drawing runes on skin, I actually usually use a more permanent media than the permanent marker that I used for this. But I have to take these off later, so I use something that I can get off pretty easily. When you draw a healing rune, especially if it's associated with a specific element, you want to make sure that you color it with the color associated to that element. Obviously this one's green, so this is earth. This one's black, so I associate black with night. Now I'm stuck. This one's purple, so I associate purple with healing. Again, this one is red, so it's fire. And then there's this one. I drew this one and colored it in pink because I am extremely, extremely light, and no yellow shows up on my skin. If yellow does not show up on your skin for any reason, I recommend finding another color that you associate with air. The color that I associate with air is a light pink. I know it looks kind of purplish, but it is pink. So on this one, I colored it blue because I associate blue with water. This specific rune actually stands for the healing of the mind. It's all complicated and stuff. It's supposed to go like this actually, but I can't draw upside down. It kinda is. If you do a little bit of research into the Shadowhunter series, the runes that they use in that specific series actually takes those runes from not only Nordic runes, but also from Indian symbols for healing, as well as Russian letters. So Midnight, he's actually correct. These are technically from the Shadowhunter series. But the Shadowhunter series took a bunch of these runes from different cultures. This one was actually taken from the American Indian culture. This is actually a symbol for the mind. This is the symbol that would go on, a medicine man would draw on somebody who has affliction of the mind, or something that they believe was an affliction of the mind. The pink one that I pointed out is actually a Russian letter. This is actually the Russian letter for, I believe it's Q, or QU. In the series, this is for insight. In reality, this is an American Indian symbol for, I just said it, for afflictions of the mind or healing of the mind. It's fine, Midnight. I would rather somebody mention it so I can explain where it came from originally than for people to believe that these runes were stolen from the series. Nona, these are not actually tattoos. It's just permanent marker. This symbol, the purple one, is actually the Egyptian symbol for truth and knowledge, which is also a part of healing the mind. Egyptians believe that the more knowledge you have, the more your mind heals. Oh, wow. Okay. But each different rune from this Mortal Instrument series actually came from an actual symbol that stood for something else in another culture. So, the water rune. This specific rune, that is it! This also came from the, this one is also a Mortal Instrument rune, but it originally came from the Protection Norse rune. This is the symbol in Nordic, this is a symbol in Nordic runes that is the protection of the body. So, good job, Chairman. But it's also used in the Mortal Instrument series. So I definitely challenge you to do some research on the runes that they use in those. There's a book that you can get that shows a few of them. So I would definitely say do some research on the runes that are in that book. Because just like this one is the Nordic rune for protection of the body, the other runes in that series also mean other things in different cultures, is what I was looking for. Sapphire, it depends really to me. I do believe in some parts that an exorcism can be considered healing, but it really depends on how much the exorcism in return harms the person that it's supposedly saving. If in the end the exorcism ends up killing the person, I don't consider that a healing exorcism. It's a little bit of both, as well as your belief in that meaning, Iron Wicca. If you draw a rune on your skin, so like I have done multiple times over, but you don't believe in the meaning, or you don't believe that that symbol has power, it's not going to have power. At this point, I have just done these really quickly so I could show you guys how these end runes relate to not only healing, but also to the different elements. So it's a little bit of both combined with your belief in the rune. So back to this specific rune. The reason I drew this specific rune, which is the healing of the mind, in water, is because I always associate water with not only wisdom, knowledge, but also emotional healing, which your emotions do come from your head, from your brain, and from the chemicals within them. So this one would definitely go along with what I associate with water. Different elements are associated with different things. You can associate them differently and draw the runes based on that. A long time ago, Iron Wicca. Believing is a power of the mind, demon. If you don't believe in something, it has no power. Sorry about that. Let me grab a drink of water. Sorry about that. Exactly, Treasure. It's the power of the mind. The more we believe in something, or the more faith we have in something, demon, means that it's got power over us. We're allowing that to have power over us by believing that it has that power. Even though it may not have that power, we're still giving it that power. It's a lot to do with psychology, though, and I'm not going to get into it, but that's the basis of it. It's a psychological thing. Demon, it's psychological. They've had studies on it. I will check out a few I'll link you to a few studies and stuff once the broadcast is done for that. And then we can talk about it. Excuse me. But certain runes I've always associated with certain elements. And because of that, I've always been able to associate them with elemental healing. Such as this one, which is a water. To me, it's a water rune. Hi, Lucid. This is an American Indian rune, or symbol, really. It's not a rune because it's not Nordic. It's a symbol. It's an American Indian symbol that means healing of the mind. The reason I associate mind and healing of the mind with water is because of the fact that water symbolizes a lot of things to me that are associated with the mind, such as knowledge and wisdom and stuff like that, as well as emotions. And emotions are a big part of what's in your head. So that's why I drew this one in as a water symbol. This is also a part of water elemental healing. The more you associate signs with certain elements, the stronger that sign becomes, because you're not only using that symbol, you're also using that element. So it's basically a double whammy for healing. Water can also, drinking water, as well as drinking water, just floating in water, because of the fact that water does symbolize purity, Nona, but it also symbolizes and is associated with a lot of different things to me. I totally forgot what I was saying now. Water is associated with a lot of different things to me. Water is, until I get through with my material, Sursa, water to me is also associated with healing. It always has been. One of the biggest things that American Indians did, which is my heritage, was use water to heal. If somebody was sick or it had an ailment, they would put them in a river, and then the medicine man would do their medicine over, or their specific chant or dance around them, or around that water. So I've always associated water with healing, not just purity, or a purifier. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the next one is Earth. I associate Earth with browns and greens, and sometimes purples, depending on if I'm thinking lavender or not. This one is American Indian. The others, though, are not. This is a Nordic rune for protection of the bodies, or protection of the physical or astral body. Earth, to me, is always associated with the body. It is the root. It is what we come from, and it is what we go back to in my mind. So I've always associated Earth with the physical and astral body. So I've always colored runes of physical protection, or symbols of... Yes. Lavender is purple. And my brain goes, ooh, lavender is purple, so let's associate that with Earth. But normally I only associate greens and browns with Earth. Purple is usually associated with spirit for me, but sometimes I get a little mixed up when I'm looking at certain flowers. So that's just me. But normally it's greens and browns. But because I've always associated the Earth with the physical body, I've always colored or drawn my runes for the protection, or my symbols for the protection of the physical or astral body, in greens and browns. This one was originally a Nordic rune symbol that meant healing. That symbolized protection. To me, protection is healing because it prevents damage before it happens. I actually drew this lower than what I wanted it to do. It was supposed to be more up here on my collarbone, but I can only see so far when I'm drawing like that. So, I apologize. But this was originally a Nordic symbol for protection. Especially for the protection of the body, both astral and physical. So I've always associated it with earth, which I associate with the body, both astral and physical. So again, I've always drawn them in greens and blues. Obviously, all these are outlined in black because I really messed up when I tried to draw them the first time. Again, I was usually drawing with my left one. So this one I actually drew with my right, and it still ended up messed up because of the way I was looking down. Thank you, Lucid. One of the things about using symbols, especially elemental symbols that you draw on yourself, or have somebody else draw on you with your healing, is the closer they are to your heart, the better they work, the more they heal. So I drew this one close to my heart for physical and astral body protection. Again, I always associate protection with healing because it prevents the damage before it can be done. Even though most people would see that as prevention, I see that as still a form of healing. It also heals whatever damage may have been done to your body beforehand. So, that's why I always do certain runes like that. I apologize for keep looking this way. I keep losing my pen. Okay, so the next element is fire. I have two symbols that I colored in red. Originally they were drawn in red, but I messed up when I first drew them, so I outlined them in black so you couldn't see all the mess ups. So, fire. To me, I've always used fire, especially when dealing with my own sickness or injuries or anything like that. Especially injuries. I've always used fire as a burn-up. And you have to be very careful with you have to be really careful with using fire as a healing element, because if you don't pay attention, or you don't pay enough attention to how much of you that you're burning up, you will end up burning up what you don't want to. I've always associated fire with healing as well. Not only for protection, but also, excuse me. Let's see. What injury do I want to use? Okay, so when I was about 13, I broke my tailbone. I know it sounds really weird to say, I broke my tailbone, but I did. I flipped off of a trampoline on accident, and I landed square on my ass, and my tailbone snapped. I literally could not get up. I sat there for maybe an hour. And as I sat there, this is the only reason I was even able to get up. I sat there for an hour, and all I did was focus on using the element of fire to burn away the pain so I could get up. And eventually it worked. I was 13. I was still learning. I'm still learning now, but I was learning a lot more back then. So that's one of the ways you can use fire to heal yourself or to heal others. You visualize it burning up the disease or the sickness or the pain. Another way, I am 20 years old, Chairman. Sorry, I know I messed your name up once. Yes, Midnight. Another way is with symbols. Yeah. This is hard. I know this looks like a U. It is not actually a U because, well, this one right here is drawn in red because I associate it with fire. This was originally a, and once again I look at the chat and lose my train of thought. Air's up here. I'll get to that. Apparently I listed that as last. I'm sorry, guys. This was originally a, not Nordic. Crud, I forgot what I was talking about. I'm sorry, guys. I mess up people's names. You should ask Zabby about his. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. But this was originally, it's an American Indian symbol, but it goes directly to Blackfoot? No, it's Navajo. Sorry about that. A lot of the... Thank you, Midnight. A lot of the symbols for Blackfoot and Navajo get me mixed up. But this was originally... It's not a U! This was originally a Navajo symbol for healing of pain. And because I've always associated with fire with burning away the pain, I've always drawn this particular symbol in Charmsmith. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I really suck at names. But because it's a Navajo symbol for, Navajo symbol for healing of the pain or healing of an affliction, I've always drawn it in red because red, to me, symbolizes fire. They're not tattoos, Nona. Anyways. Because I use fire to burn away pain or to burn away an affliction, I've always drawn the symbol for healing of pain or healing of an affliction as red and associated it with fire. That's that one. I do have another one. This one right here. It's that red one. It's actually upside down, but I don't think I can turn my arm that far. Ooh, I can't. Okay. Don't try this angle at home, kids. Okay, so that's another fire symbol that I use. This is the Lakota symbol for warrior healing. This is a active healing. It's not so much you're hurt or you're sick and you're laying in bed healing yourself. It's actually an active healing. It's as you go throughout your day and as you get hurt, it heals you. This, for Lakotas, putting this on their warriors was a way to have them come home. See, I can't do that. I can't draw my pain. I focus on where the pain is. Like when I broke my tailbone, I had to literally sit there and focus on it. I couldn't draw it somewhere else because I was too busy going, ow, my tailbone, ow, my tailbone. But this particular symbol was drawn on Lakota warriors. It specifically Lakota Sioux warriors. Lakota Sioux warriors to bring their warriors home. If they got wounded in battle, American Indians, especially Lakota Sioux, believed that this symbol had the power to, even though their warriors were wounded, they would still come home and heal as they were in battle. So I've always used this as an active symbol, because one of the Lakota Sioux beliefs is that fire is it's a holy man or a medicine man's element. They use it whenever they need to heal somebody or something. Yes, I know, Iron Wicca, I am the palest Indian ever. I stayed inside for 2 years in a row. Sue me. But this particular symbol was only drawn on by medicine men, because it was believed that only medicine men could use fire to unless you were, they believed that only medicine men could control the power of fire to heal. Otherwise, if somebody else tried it, they believed that that person would end up burning themselves up. So I've always associated this particular symbol with fire, because medicine men were the only ones allowed to draw this symbol onto anyways, only medicine men were able to draw the symbol onto the warriors to bring them home. Next is spirit. Spirit is right here. This is the Egyptian, obviously the Egyptian symbol of the all-knowing eye, or the Eye of Ra. I did do it a little differently, because I'm not the best drawer when it comes to Egyptian symbols at all. So I usually just draw it however I can. I definitely encourage you guys, if you start using symbols in your healing, not to draw them exactly the way that they're drawn, but to use a little bit of creativity. I'll see if I can get a close-up of this. This is the symbol that I used. This particular symbol in Egyptian mythology stood for the healing of the mind, as same as this one. The reason I drew it in purple is because it's not so much the healing of the physical mind, but the spiritual one. This means any abilities that have gotten weaker, as well as any negative emotions or thoughts that you may have about your spiritual self. It also helps with meditation and focus, dealing with spiritual things. I didn't want to say things. Spiritual aspirations. So I've always connected this with the spiritual mind, or the spirit or the soul, because the Egyptians always believed that the Eye of Ra could see right through your right through to your soul. And because of that, they've always drawn it as an eye. I've always associated it with spirit. Okay, Charmsman. This one is air. Obviously it is not in yellow, because yellow doesn't show up on my skin. I tried 3 different yellows while I was drawing this, and none of them worked. This particular symbol was, or is, the Russian symbol for it's not protection, but it deals with protection. Now I totally forgot what I was saying, because Nona interrupted me again. No, it doesn't. And please, Iron Wiccan, don't use that particular term when referring to me. Or any American Indian, for that matter. That's actually extremely racist. Anyways. It's not protection. What is it? It is protection, but it's not protection in the same way that people think. This is the Russian symbol for the protection of the spiritual. This was drawn, or I found this while I was looking at different Russian mythologies, especially the one about Baba Yaga. This is always drawn on children, so they would, so their spirits would be protected, because Baba Yaga was seen as a demon that stole children's spirits. It wasn't so much I'm not white, so thank you for that, Iron Wicca. Now, if you continue to be racist, there will be an issue. The reason I don't like the term redskin is because it always gets turned into something else. I have Charmsman, but anyways, when reading the myth of Baba Yaga, there's two specific myths about it. There's the physical, where it was used to scare children at night, where Baba Yaga would steal them and grind their bones up and eat their bones. Then there was the spiritual, where Baba Yaga would steal a child's soul and put it to work in her house as a slave. This symbol was always drawn on, I did not know that, Charmsman. I will definitely look into that. But this symbol was always drawn on Russian children before they went to bed to protect their spirits from being stolen by Baba Yaga. So I've always associated this with protection of the spirit. Because it is, again, protection and it deals with something not physical, I associate it mostly with air. The reason why is because when I shield, I always visualize my shield as light as air and as see-through as air, but still as there as air. I usually see it as a wind wall or a wind dome around me. So I've always really used air for protection against spiritual things. So that's why this one is drawn in air. That's one of the ways you can use air to protect yourself. Usually air is used for a protection of the spiritual or the soul instead of the physical, because it has so much more power when it's not seen. So that's how I use air for protection. Now, using the elements all together for protection, water. I forgot this one, guys. This is the Greek symbol for... No, I'm getting to that. This is the Greek symbol to guard you from negative... Now that I read it, I can't say it. This is the Greek symbol for warding or protection against negativity. It's not so much negativity of the universe, but it's negativity from other people. This is kind of a shielding rune, or a shielding symbol of what hits you goes back to that person. I drew it in black because I am a night witch, and black I do associate with night. And since I'm a lot stronger at night, I've always associated this particular symbol with night. Especially because it's what goes around comes around. You can use dark and light, though I would not recommend using white as the associated color of light. But You can also use dark and light. I ran out of time drawing my runes and my symbols on my body to actually put extra ones for light. So I apologize for that, but you can definitely use that too. So using the elements all together. There's water, earth, fire, and air, as well as spirit. So each particular symbol that I drew stands for the protection of a specific association of the body. Physical and astral body, mind, spirit. This is also spirit, but it's more the inner spirit. This is the more spiritual abilities. And this is physical pain as well as mental and emotional pain. So each one of these would work together using all the elements. Each one would work together using all the elements to both protect and heal the entire body, instead of just one part at a time. Air air can also be used if you visualize yourself being enveloped by air, and taking, like, sucking the pain out of you, like, as a breath. Breathe in and then breathe out with that air swirling around you, or focusing on that air that's around you. You can actually imagine the pain or sickness and stuff being drawn out of you in a breath. With earth, Charmsman did say this before, when grounding, you can take sickness or pain and ground it to the earth to neutralize it. For water, if you focus on water and you visualize the pain leaving you and going into the water and then dispersing, it'll neutralize that pain as well. Fire, again, burns up sickness, illnesses, and pain. There's also ritualistic healing, both runic and non-runic. Technically, runic is called Sigil, as far as my knowledge. Each rune can be used in a healing ritual to symbolize the part of the body that you're focusing on to heal. This can be done with or without the association of elements. I usually do it with the association of elements because I feel that it makes that particular symbol more powerful. Cool. Yeah, you can also use healing spells dealing with specific elements for specific things. Non-Sigil ritual, you can do it by Emerus. You can do it in association with just the elements or without the elements. Usually runic healing, ritual healing, sorry about that, deals with healing circles, as well as Reiki. Forgot what I was saying again. I forgot what I was saying again, guys. I'm sorry. Mainly ritualistic healing is usually associated or deals with healing circles, which I have participated in a few of those, particularly the ones that thank you, Charmsman, thank you, Midnight. The healing circles I've participated in are specifically the ones dealing with the transfer of energy, or sending healing energy or good energy to a person. Reiki, I've just recently encountered Reiki. A friend of mine is a Reiki master. I'm not sure which degree, but he has done Reiki to me on my back because my back is all messed up from multiple different injuries that I accumulated over the years. As far as I understand, it's the transfer of energy, and it's focused on that area where the pain and the injury or the healing is supposed to go, and that's how it heals. The last healing practice I'm going to talk about that I consider magical is aura healing. This is for people who are channelers as well as aura seers and feelers. A person's aura can show when they're in a negative mood as well as when they're in pain. I pronounce everything wrong. We know this, Lucid. Remember antheme as anthem? Yeah, I still do that sometimes. But for those that can see or feel auras, a person's aura can tell you if that person is in pain or if that person's in a negative mood or has a negative mood about them. People that can see or feel auras can actually channel that part of that aura and change it. It's a lot like empath, but you're not feeling their emotions. What you're doing is, yeah, Charmsman, I've done that quite a few times. If I get on a roll and I start talking really quick, I pronounce antheme still as anthem. It happens a lot. But aura healing is a lot like empathic healing, except for you're not feeling that person's energy or their emotions. What you're really doing is you're pushing your aura or your energy into that person's aura to eclipse that negative emotion or that pain, to make it go away. Another part is those that can see or feel auras can also draw that specific part of the aura into them and then replace it with something else. The replacing can be from their own aura, or it can be just drawing out that section of the aura and then doing something nice for that person to make them feel better. So that's a really easy way to use aura, like an ability with auras, as a healing. Okay guys, at this time we're going to take a break, go potty, get a smoke, get food, anything you guys need. The video is going to go off and I'm going to play some more music. So, I will be back. I am back, and look who came to say hello. Yes, my little kitty Midnight Storm came to say hello. Yeah, baby. Say hi. Say hi. Not to me. Say hi to the camera. Okay. Well, she's probably going to take over my lap again, so. Okay, so now we start on the non-magical practices. Non-magical practices to me or non-magical healing practices, I should say, to me, are when you're not specifically using Midnight Storm, goober, to me, is when you're not particularly using your energy or the energy of another person to heal or to alleviate pain. So that's my definition of non-magical healing practices. Different forms of non-magical healing would be herbal, such as lavender for insomnia, honey for sore throat or strep throat, willow tree bark for toothaches, as well as headaches. A certain tree, I believe it's the willow tree, has bark that is basically aspirin. It's a pure form of aspirin. Come on, baby. She wants to sit on the arm of the chair. Look at her sitting all pretty with her little bow. Okay. Anyways, herbal remedies I don't consider magical healing practices because of the fact that it's not the transfer of energy or the transfer of intent from one person to another. It's the transfer of energy from a plant, which a plant does not actually have an intent. So I don't consider it magical. But herbal usually is using any form of herbs, such as honey, lavender, willow bark, parsley, to help prevent, to get rid of. She's eating my pen. Yeah. This is why I can't find my pens during my broadcast, by the way. As long as she's in my lap, I don't care if she tries to eat it. You can add more energy to such things, but I'm speaking strictly without adding the energy to them. Sorry guys, I know this is just really entertaining to me to mess with my cat. But using any herb such as parsley or anything to I guess she's not going to let me have my pen back. To heal yourself or to heal another. Healing practices. At this point, we're talking about non-magical healing practices, charmsmen. Sorry about that. And my cat's eating my pen. And now she's gonna go eat my notes. Come on, Midnight. Behave. I need those. Yes, petting a cat as well as all animals is a form of healing. It's actually therapeutic healing. A cat's purring is also therapeutic healing. That's actually the next thing I'm going to talk about is therapeutic. Things such as aromatherapy, which is dealing with specific scents to heal. Animals, certain noises can all be used to heal. A cat's purring I know. I'm surprised she hasn't tried to eat her bow yet, so we're doing good for that part. Really? Come on, monster. Stop it. Now she's not trying to eat them, she's just crumpling them all up. You're a monster. But scents such as lavender can help with sleep deprivation or insomnia. Garlic garlic scents can be used to keep away mosquitoes and to prevent headaches. And those are all part of aromatherapy. Other therapies include animals, a dog, petting a dog or petting a cat or even a rabbit, any animal, petting them. Cats, you're clumsy. She just fell off the arm of the couch. And now she's sitting on my nose again. No, you're not stealing my pizza. Crab nuggets. A cat's purring, because it vibrates through you, is actually very healing. It also makes you focus on something other than being sick or in pain. The next thing that I consider non-magical is meditation. Meditations such as chakra meditation can be used to heal yourself. If there's any imbalances in your chakras, that can cause sickness, it can cause headaches, it can cause sleep deprivation, so on and so forth. Hi. I just realized that by looking at my little screen, I could see her looking up at me. Hi. But by using chakra meditations, you're able to find the imbalances in your chakras, and use the vacuum meditation to get rid of the impurities, which also gets rid of certain illnesses and sicknesses as well as pain. There's also elemental meditation that can get rid of pain and sickness. This is when you use the elements you meditate on the elements either one at a time or all together. And I covered that earlier. We're on non-magical. No. No. She already attacks my hair. Sorry. I got distracted. I'm just going to let you chew on it. But elemental meditation is where you meditate on elements, or each element at a time, or all elements together, and you focus them where you need to be healed at. This This can be separating the elements by different things, such as oh, I know, my hair was red when we got her midnight. Not you. Focusing on the associations of the elements for each body part. This can also mean just focusing on the elements and which body parts you want to heal as well. There's also non-magical empathic healing. This involves the ability to empathically feel another person's emotions, whether they be negative or in pain, and being able to non-magically help them. That would be you by combining your empathic abilities with, say, herbal or therapeutic stuff, as well as if they are having negative feelings, because once again, negative feelings do end up being or causing sicknesses. Just being yourself or trying to make them feel better is another way to non-magically use your empathic ability as a healing method. And the non-magical aura healing abilities or practices are just like the non-magical empathic ones. It's the ability to feel or see somebody's aura or sense their aura and know if they're in a bad mood, and do something to try and make them feel better that doesn't involve energy, or being able to see or feel somebody's aura if they're sick or in pain, and being able to help them via therapy, any type of therapy such as acupuncture, aromatherapy, animal therapy, or anything like that. Because I did get complained at that I don't talk about myself as much as I should, my view on magic is energy even without the intent lucid. It becomes magic when we put an intent to it. She just fell off of a chair. Anyways, I see magic as energy being all around us. I also see it as being energy that we're able to take and put an intent to via a ritual or a spell, and then sending it out to the universe. Aleister Crowley's definition of magic was the science and art of causing change to occur with conformity of the will. Because he states science and art, I still see it as magic. I still see using magic as a science. So yeah, I still see it as energy, even though some people don't. That being said, I got complained at for not talking about myself as much as I apparently should. So, at this point, we're going to talk about me and my healing practices. Obviously, I do use the runes and the symbols for healing, as well as the elements. I also use my empathic ability and my channeling ability. Just trying to drink my water. But I use, obviously, the symbol or the runic healing. I also use my empathic ability as a healing purposes, as well as my channeling abilities. I do use the elements separately as well as all together as healing. I have done ritualistic healing. Transmit, I will take a look at that as soon as I get off broadcast. I also use therapeutic treatments or healing practices, as well as herbal and non-magical, empathetic, and aura healing practices. And I also use meditation practices. So that's about my healing stuff. That's what I do. Azura Swing, this video will be on my YouTube broadcast page after I finish broadcasting. I will link you because I do talk about that earlier in the video. But those aren't the types of healings that I use, since I was complained about not talking about myself as much. As I said in the beginning of the broadcast video, there's this misconception around my area for younger people, witches in general, that only people that are proclaimed to be healers can heal. So that begs the question, if you can heal using any of these healing techniques, are you a healer? I would personally say yes, you are. If you can use any of the abilities that we have discussed today, or any abilities that I have not discussed in this video, or that you just know of, you're still a healer. You may not be a proclaimed healer, you may not be a doctor and healer, but you're still a healer. And don't let people tell you otherwise. Okay. Questions? Questions. Does anybody have any questions? What's up, Charmson? Sorry, I have to keep rearranging my shirt. Yes, permanent marker does come off. How do you think these look so perfect? I redid them 3 different times. I believe anybody does have the capacity to heal if they do a certain degree of research. Like I said, herbal healing is one of, well, I didn't actually say this. Herbal healing is actually one of the most common forms of healing. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Yes, Sapphire, I have. They are extremely high energy, as well as disturbing comes to mind. Certain ones, especially Lakota, Sioux healing rites and rituals usually involve, especially if somebody's like on the brink of death, usually involves a sacrifice of some sort, because the Indians believe, Lakota Sioux specifically believe, if somebody's on the brink of death, to bring them back from that, it's a life for a life. Charmsman, that has, again, nothing to do with what I'm talking about at the moment, so we can talk about that when I'm off broadcast. Azura's Wings, I believe to a certain degree everyone can do it. If they decide to do research on certain herbs that have healing properties, and then share that knowledge, then yes, I do believe that at that point they are still a healer, even if it's just by a non-healing or a non-magical healing, a non-magical healing practice. That still makes them a healer. Known Charmsman, I'm sorry, I meant about the broadcast. Lucid, one of the things about American Indians is if they believe, especially the Lakota Sioux, I can't talk in general, but for the Lakota Sioux, if a young person is dying and they believe it's before their time, they'll try to bring them back from the brink of death by using a sacrifice, a life for a life. This is why their hunting was the way that their hunting was. I do believe listening can heal more. It really depends. Sometimes people don't want to open up, so therefore you can't listen. But for those that do want to open up and talk about things and talk things out, I do believe listening can be one of the biggest healing practices ever. And it's not even magical. So, yeah, I do really believe listening can help. Yes, Azura swings, like mothers can be healers. If a little kid is sick and their mom's the one taking care of them, and their mom doesn't want to shove a bunch of pills down their throat, my mom's like that. My mom has always used herbal remedies when I got sick. Still a healer. Actually, I do. There's not always a rune or a symbol for something a person wants to convey. So I think that music healing is a form of therapy, Azura swings. I do. I researched both Nordic runes as well as other symbols, as I've known my own heritage symbols. So there's not, between those three cultures, there's usually not a single rune that conveys one particular idea or concept that I want to convey. So if at that point I can't find something for what I want to convey, making up your own rune or using a rune close but having a creative embellishment on it is perfectly fine, and it still works just as well. As long as you know the meaning behind that rune. Like I said earlier, with this particular rune, if I can get it on screen, this one right here is actually the Eye of Ra. It's an Egyptian symbol. This is not how it is actually drawn, though. I used a little bit of artistic embellishment, mainly because I can't actually draw the real one, but also because I felt like it needed to be changed for who I am and what I do. But it all depends on what you want to convey through that symbol and the meaning you give to it, as well as your belief in that symbol to work. Any more questions, guys, about the broadcast? Okay, guys, if there's no more questions about this broadcast, I'm going to be signing off. Bye, guys.